And that game is the highly controversial and dramatic game between Spurs and Liverpool. I did predict Liverpool to beat Spurs. Didn't happen like it. Liverpool have dropped points. Liverpool fans don't like this at all. They don't like this. They don't like this. I'm going to clip this video out. Hardly anybody would watch it. Unless I take another angle where I empathize with the Liverpool fans for the draw. And I feel for them. The fact that Robertson got sent off and Kane didn't. You know what I'm saying? It's about angles. It's about perspective. So if you're watching this right now, yeah, man. I got you. Because y'all don't like to hear what I have to say when you drop points. Or when you, let's say, lose. See what I'm saying? Whenever Liverpool lose, might as well you don't even make a video and talk about the game. Nobody will watch. Crickets. Crickets. But this was a entertaining game. Very entertaining. Spurs actually shocked me because I thought that they were going to be very rusty. Maybe they were in some aspects in front of goal. Maybe they were. But they were very, very sharp in other departments. And it could have either been two things, right? As I mentioned, being very rusty or being very ready to go after missing their last 3 Premier League games, postponed. Since Antonio Conte took charge of this team, it's been a different team. The team's DNA has transformed. It's now Antonio Conte's blood flowing through the veins of Tottenham Hotspur. Oh, you hear? I even called them hot. Because they've been hotter than they were under Nuno, right? Could we actually take Tottenham serious now? Maybe for a top 4 spot. Not the league. Not the league. But I have to say, both teams came into the game with depleted squads, of course. Liverpool being more heavily depleted than Spurs. We take a look at the lineups. There's no Virgil van Dijk. There is no Fabinho. There's no Jordan Henderson, which means you're lacking the leadership. You're lacking the defensive qualities of both Fabinho and Van Dijk, which leaves the defense a bit leakier than it should be. And leadership at the back there too. You have Tyler Morton coming in for his first start. James Milner, the veteran. And Naby Keita, always a casualty, right? I must give a lot of credit to Ibrahima Konate. Ibrahima Konate stepped up big time. He was real good. He was actually better than Joel Matip in the game. Ibrahima Konate has proven himself to be a very good signing so far for Liverpool. So when they don't have a Van Dijk, he steps in and he looks good. And the fact that he's risen higher in the pecking order above Joe Gomez is testament to what I just said. Maybe he was just a better defender from the get-go than Joe Gomez. I think Gomez is a bit overrated. See what I mean? And his chances has been very, very scanty this season along with injuries. He did come off the bench, I could recall. Robertson got red carded. We'll talk about that a bit later. Forwards, no problem there. Mane, Salah, Jota with yet another goal. His most fruitful season in the Premier League ever. 10 goals. He's got 9 for Wolves in the past, and he got 9 for Liverpool last season. But Jota with yet another goal. You got to give it up to Diego Jota. I got to mention Mo Salah. He had an off game. Salah had hardly any opportunities. he was well dealt with by Ryan Sessegnon and Ben Davies. He was well dealt with. Well dealt with. They call it being pocketed. He was pocketed on the day. Mane a little bit more, had a little bit more room to play around with. But I think the Liverpool forwards were well dealt with the exception of Diego Jota, who did get a few opportunities to score. But look, when you look at a Liverpool 11 like this, when you have a midfield of Milner, Naby Keita, Tyler Martin not playing consistently, it was always going to be very difficult to defeat a Spurs team or anybody at that, to be completely real. When you don't have a Van Dijk in the back there to at least marshal his troops and say, hey, maybe guys, maybe you're going up a little bit too far. We look a little vulnerable right now, right? Think about it. When Andy Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold are up the field all the time and you only have Tyler Martin and co to protect. You see what I'm saying? That is why Spurs got it behind on way too many occasions, if you ask me. But their team didn't look too bad. With Lloris in goal, Davinson Sanchez has looked more improved under Antonio Conte. Emerson Royale, I think, is proven to be a quality signing. Barcelona had to be desperate for money to sell him. You see what I'm saying? And to free up wages and everything. Eric Dyer weren't too diabolical. And Davies as well. These guys didn't look too bad. Ryan Sessegnon, I think, casually went about his business. Casually and effectively went about his business. Wasn't too over the top or anything. Wasn't too Sergio Reguilon-esque on the day. But he was actually very, very effective. And it's nice to see him finally getting a run out since he was signed and he's went out on loan and he's been injured. Harry Winks. Oh, man. He was a Rolls Royce on the day. And you see all these yellow cards sprinkled about. Yeah, the team was riddled. The teams were riddled with yellow cards. It was a physical game. It was a high-profile affair. Dele Alli, I think he had a bright game back in the starting 11, but he had to score. He had a few opportunities. I think he messed around a bit too much, man. He fiddled a bit too much with the ball. Wasn't sharp enough. Tanguy Ndombele had a good 64 minutes. I think he credited for the first assist there, for the first goal, if I'm not... Yep, the Harry Kane goal, that opening goal there we were talking about just now. Son. Brilliant as usual. Could have scored more than one, but look, one was enough to get them a point. And Harry Kane, who I said was a player to watch because of his non-involvement in terms of the goal-scoring department, popped up on the day with a goal. And if it wasn't for Ibrahima Konate picking up that, a block or two, he could have gotten more. I think Spurs did enough where they could have won the game, and just enough at the end of the day to get a point. Substitute Sergio Reguilon late. Oliver Skip, 64th minute. Lucas Moura late. These guys didn't really, put their spell on the game. Firmino came on to affect the game. And, if you check right there and see the goal 69th minute, he did affect the game. So it was a good move by Klopp to actually bring him on. But they didn't manage the game after the goal was scored and conceded again. Joe Gomez came on late there to show that Klopp didn't actually want to lose what he had, or else he could have brought on Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Kostas Tsimikas was brought in, picked up a yellow after Andy Robertson got sent off. Minamino unused. Cade Gordon. I want to see more of Cade Gordon, though. Klopp, give the boy Cade Gordon a few more opportunities. He could be a youngster that could be effective for Liverpool if the AFCON does go ahead and Salah and Mane, Naby Keita goes to the African Cup of Nations. Just imagine if Ibrahima Konate, who's probably Guinean in background, went to the AFCON and Joel Matip. Oh, man. Talk about depleted. And you would have talked about Liverpool. But Liverpool fans right now are hoping that the AFCON does not go ahead. They're hoping maybe there's somewhat of a COVID outbreak. Believe me, I know it's sad as it may sound. during the time that the AFCON is going on. So Liverpool would therefore miss most of their games in January. Therefore, not missing out on Salah and Mane, right? Think about it. Sadistic as it may sound, right? But you gotta look at things from all different angles, though. But look, that's just my quick overview of the teams. You know, this is a very, very important game in the grand scheme of things, so I gotta really take my time and break this one down here. So, notes, Dele Alli started, Sessegnon as well, back from COVID break. Spurs, Pierre-Emile Hybrid out. Big absentee there for Liverpool. Thiago Alcantara with COVID. Henderson unwell. Virgil van Dijk, Curtis Jones, Fabinho, and Divock Origi all missed the game with injuries and coronavirus and so on. Tyler Martin started his first Premier League game. Milner and Naby Keita in. Ox on the bench. Good options on the bench if you ask me, with Minamino, Oxlade, Chamberlain, Joe Gomez, Firmino. So no excuses for Liverpool at all. That's why you have a squad. So Trent Alexander-Arnold teed up Robertson early on in the game, who put his header wide. That was a close chance. That should have been put in the back of the net. Alexander-Arnold had a left-footed shot of his own that was saved by Hugo Lloris. The goal came, I think, pretty much against a run of play for Spurs in the 13th minute after a good period where a Kane shot was blocked by Konate and Liverpool scrambled, dealt with that one. And then Ndombele with a brilliant through ball. Harry Kane got on a turn to beat Alisson at the far post from an angle. Brilliant stuff from the outer form Harry Kane to give Spurs the lead. And the moment I saw that Spurs got the lead, I knew they would get something out of the game. It's just that feeling you get when you're watching games that you know. So, because Liverpool, they had to fight from behind in their last game and against Newcastle, and they're fighting from behind again. This is not a good sign. This is not a very good sign. And if you check the Premier League table right now 3 points behind City. You don't want to be fighting from behind and depending on somebody else's results for your, ascendancy in the table or in the game. You really don't want that. You want to take the game by the scruff of the neck, and you want your destiny to be in your own hands there. So, look, good period of pressure by Spurs. They did pay off. Liverpool made to chase the game. Spurs had a brilliant break in the 16th minute. 2v1. One defender, two Spurs attackers in Harry Kane and Heung-min Son. Kane did manage to get the ball to Son, but Son, a bit off balance, got his shot, put his shot wide. Spurs could have been 2 up, and I said could have been. They should have been. They would have won the game. I'm pretty sure if they had scored that goal and went 2 up. Where this is Antonio Conte we're talking about. He would have managed this game like he's never managed the game before to get those 3 points if they had went 2-0 up there against Liverpool. Very open game of football in the first 20 minutes. Kane picked up a yellow, foul on Robertson. Big talking point of the game. That Harry Kane tackle and on I can't talk, on Andy Robertson. That should have been a red card. That should have been a red card all day, every day. And I don't understand why he wasn't given a card. A red card, not a yellow, but a red. And people are still talking about this on Twitter. People are still talking about this on Twitter. And I want to actually get a still. I want to get something. And I can't believe what Harry Kane actually said. I really can't. And we'll play a clip from what Harry Kane said as well. Look, let's go over to Twitter and let's take a look at the tackle. It's important. And this is a tweet from TalkSport. I don't really watch TalkSport, but anyways, whatever. Should Harry Kane have been shown a red for this? In my opinion, yes, that is red all day and every day. Studs up, dangerous foul. The way he rushed in, it was a red. People are saying because he's English, he's the England captain, and so on, because he's Harry Kane. Look, even the people behind cannot believe. They're watching. They cannot believe that Kane wasn't sent off. He should have been sent off. Deserved the red all day, every day. Let us hear what Harry Kane actually had to say about this. Let us hear what he had to say about this. Let me get my headphones and I saw a clip, an interview, and let's hear what Harry Kane had to say about this one. Let's actually just check the Twitter topics on Harry Kane there. Okay, let's go back. Harry Kane. Let's go back and let's get the Harry Kane tackle there. All right, Harry Kane. This is what Harry Kane himself had to say after the game, right?
A strong tackle, but I thought, no.
Look, this is what he had to say. This is what he had to say. Let me know. Let me know if you guys are hearing that. Are you hearing that? Let me know if you're hearing that. If you're hearing that, say yes. Let me know if you're hearing that in the live chat right now. Let me know if you're hearing that. Talk to me, guys. Let me know if you're hearing that right now so I could continue to play that clip right now so you guys could hear what Harry Kane himself had to say about the tackle. Okay? Definitely will appreciate that. Okay, you guys are hearing it. Let's go. Let us go. So, Harry Kane.
No, definitely not. I thought it was a strong tackle, but I thought I won the ball. Obviously, I haven't seen it back, but...
Listen, man. Listen. That was red card all day. Red all day. All day. All day. You know, so I don't know what Harry Kane is talking about, though. I really don't know what Harry Kane is talking about. But, look, we're going to leave that one right there, and we're going to continue with the analysis. Let me just take these headphones off. It's gotten a bit interactive there. It's definitely gotten very, very interactive. But let's go back. Let's go back here. Let's not lose the plot. Let us not lose the plot there. So, Harry Kane, 28th minute. Spurs should have been down to 10 men. Should have been down to 10 men, but for some reason, he survived. Paul Tierney didn't go over, look at the monitor, nothing. He survived, right? Okay, move on with the game. Tyler Martin got a yellow in the 23rd minute for foul on Harry Winks. And you got to give it to the young man for playing the remainder of his time on the field with that yellow and not get sent off. The Dele Alli miss, or I should say the Alisson save, that was a big chance. Spurs almost walked the ball in the back of the net. Liverpool's defense were allowing Tottenham in behind on way too many occasions. And I think it's because they were way too high. They were way too high up the field. And Spurs, who usually likes to play without the ball against better oppositions like Liverpool and City, break on a counter and some devastating counter attacks there. Dele Alli, bro, you should have scored. You should have scored. I don't care if Alisson tipped it. I don't care if he got fingertips to it. That should have been nestled in the back of the net. Dele Alli, look, Spurs should have been 3-0 up by then. 3-0 up. Literally 3-0 up by then. Absolutely poor in front of goal. And look, they could have walked away with 3 points, but they only got one. But I think they'll be satisfied with the 1 point against a team like Liverpool, where the form that they were in, you more than likely would have got none. Okay? None at all. So the goal came. The equalizer came. Robertson's cross from a loose ball to Jota, who headed in. And that was actually a good break by Liverpool, initially dealt with. But that loose ball pounced on by Robertson, and Jota did the rest. Brilliant header, man, to beat Lloris. 10th Premier League goal of the season. Robertson picking up an important assist as well. He's been bagging a few lately. And to be exact, that is Andy Robertson's 5th assist this season, which is pretty good. Pretty good if you ask me. Could he end up matching, I think, the 12 he picked up a couple seasons ago? him and Trent Alexander-Arnold has been doing very well in terms of assists, where Trent now has 8 and Andy Robertson has 5. But we'll talk some more about Robertson as we progress in this analysis here. So the goal scored, equalizer. I was like, okay, there Liverpool go coming back into the game. And there was a penalty shout in the 37th minute just after that on Diego Jota. And it wasn't given. And I was saying to myself, how is that not given though? That is a clear push. I really don't know, to be honest. I don't know what is given and what's not given these days. I honestly don't know. I really don't know what is given and what's not given. Because sometimes we see some very, very, very soft penalties given, and other occasions we see some, some clear-cut penalties not given. So I don't know, man. I don't know. If you ask me, I really don't know. I really don't know. Premier League refereeing, it has been at an all-time low for the last couple seasons. And that game was exemplary of such occurrence. Should have been a penalty. Not given. The game could have went anyway, because Spurs had tons of chances, not taken. Open game of football. Look, 37th minute as well, Alisson and Trent Alexander-Arnold had a mix-up, not punished by Spurs. So, all over the place, man, I'm telling you. Milner got a yellow. 43rd minute, Trent Alexander-Arnold had a brilliant shot. That was going right into the back of the net. Well saved by Lloris with his foot. And that was a big chance. Definitely a big chance. Good period of play for Liverpool to finish off the half. Very open half of football. Not the most polished half of football, but there were entertainment, there were drama, and that's what we watch the football for, you know what I'm saying? For drama, for entertainment, value. Salah kept very quiet, I must say, in the half. A lot of wasted chances for Spurs, and you do not do that against Liverpool. You just don't. And they almost had to pay for it. They almost had to pay for it, because we know the team who scored next. It was Liverpool. They almost had to pay for it, but I think both teams were sloppy on the day. They were really sloppy. Not the most polished performance at all. And Spurs coming off for 2 weeks, you expect that. You really expect moments like that, right? Where they now get in match fitness again. But Liverpool, you expect that as well with the squad depletion. You really do. When you chop and change in the team like that, the cohesiveness isn't there, the chemistry isn't there, and you do expect that. So that explains it. That's my explanation for what I saw. Look, 55th minute chance squandered, great ball in behind to Dele Alli. But poor layoff to Harry Kane, where if that layoff was a lot better, it had more behind it and everything, I think it was undercooked, Alisson would have been beaten, but he came out and foiled Harry Kane. Big miss from the corner. And then Kane, from the resulting corner, had a header that he put over. That could have been in the back of the net as well. So, numerous amount of chances. Tyler Martin was brought off. An attacking option in Firmino was brought on. And it paid dividends to where the ball ping-ponged around the Tottenham defense. Salah even got a hand to it. I saw someone mention and said it was a basketball effort by Salah. And the ball ended up in the back of the net from a Trent Alexander-Arnold cross to Andy Robertson, whose low header beat the Tottenham players' attempt clearance. 2-1 to Liverpool. I was like, oh man. As a City fan, I'm watching this game and I'm saying, oh man, Liverpool are winning the game after coming from behind once again. I was like, damn. You know, I'm looking to get that 3-point gap over Liverpool, right? But they fight back. Even with the circumstances, they do fight back. But But Tottenham fight even harder. VAR check. The goal stood. I think that goal could have been chalked off because of that Salah handball in the build-up, but it wasn't. Say it's not intentional, but I would say so. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. I think Liverpool got very fortunate with that one. And who knows? Maybe they were equal in the thing. Not giving a red card for Kane. Give the goal to Liverpool. Maybe. I don't know what the VAR and the ref are thinking. I really don't know. But the goal came in the 74th minute, man. Brilliant ball by Harry Winks. And poor slide by Alisson. And Son Heung-min, who the ball was initially intended for, got it and slotted into an empty goal. 2-2. Spurs back in the game. And we know that's how it ended. But I think Alisson should have done a lot better with that one. 76th minute after the goal scored. Immediately after the goal. 2 minutes after the goal. We had an incident where Robertson lashed out at Emerson Royal. Straight red after the review. First given a yellow, but on review you could see that Robertson intentionally kicked out. That was no attempt to get the ball. That was all attempt to get the man. And I think Robertson, I think you let your team down a bit there. You got to control your emotions. And I know Tsimikas has been good this season, but Tsimikas is no Robertson, right? He's no Robertson. I think Robertson has a bit more fear factor than Tsimikas, but Tsimikas has been performing well. And for Liverpool's sake, he would need to stay fit as well. Because he goes out, then you got Milner at left back. Milner has not been 100% this season. The season could fall apart. And I said at the beginning of the season, well, the key to Liverpool actually winning the title is to keep players fit. And when I say fit, I mean coronavirus. I mean injuries. I mean a lot of things. And it seems like Liverpool are going through a bit of a period where they just had a lot of injuries, a lot of illnesses, but it didn't affect them. But they dropped points today. Who knows what will happen in the next game or two. And then there's the African Cup of Nations situation coming up. So, yeah, you know what I mean? But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Red card for Andy Robertson. I think it was deserved. But I think Kane should have been sent off as well. Could have been a whole different game, but that's just football. You know what I mean? That's just football. Games would have different permutations if different things happen, but that's just how things happen, and Liverpool have to live with that. Klopp not pleased with the refereeing decisions at all. He did speak to Paul Tierney at the end of the game. He said, I don't have a problem with referees, just you. You know what I mean? You never kicked a ball of football in your life. You know what I mean? So Klopp not happy. I think Klopp did get a yellow card too, if I'm not mistaken. So with Liverpool down to 10 men, they were still looking to win the game. But at that moment of time, it was only going to end two ways. Either Tottenham win or the game end in a draw. And it did end up ending in a draw. As I mentioned, I think Konate was the best player on the day for Liverpool. And for Spurs, I think it was Harry Winks. Brilliant performance by Harry Winks, who was actually outcasted by Nuno Espirito Santo. So Antonio Conte still unbeaten in the Premier League so far. And you got to give credit to the Italian for the stellar job that he has done. Steady the ship over at Tottenham since he was appointed. So, look, who knows? There might be light at the end of the tunnel for Tottenham after all. But give Conte some time and see what he could do with this team. Definitely. Look, before we end this analysis and end today's live stream, let's just take a look at the stats here for this game. Liverpool with 18 shots, 6 on target. Most of the ball, 57%. 519 passes with an 81% pass accuracy. 4 yellow cards dished out, 1 red. Spurs, ill-disciplined ill-disciplined as well. 12 fouls, 4 yellow cards as well. You could see a lot of shots at goal in 10, 5 on target, 43% of the ball. So they did compete well, and it was an even game of football at the end of the day, if you ask me, where it could have went any which way. Look, this is Klopp talking to Paul Tierney at the end of the game. So he did speak his mind there. Insight. Spurs have won just one of their last 18 Premier League games against Liverpool, 12 losses and 5 draws. That's a big result. I predicted a win for Liverpool. With today only the 4th time in that run they've gone ahead in a game. So, big game for Tottenham. Big game. Liverpool scored their 50th Premier League goal of the season in what is their 18th match. It is the quickest they have ever scored 50 goals in a top flight season. So, you see what I'm talking about, right? Liverpool have scored in each of their last 28 away games in all competitions, the longest run by a top flight team since Wolves scored 29 consecutively between December of 1958 and January of 1960. For Spurs, their next game will be in the EFL Cup against West Ham. It's a London derby. Then they got another London derby against Palace. Southampton, then another London derby again against Watford, another London derby again against Arsenal, a London derby again against Chelsea. God damn. Got a lot of derbies coming up there, bro. So for Liverpool, Tottenham are in 7th, 26 points. For Liverpool, they're second, 41 points, 3 points off the drop, but they do have 3 points ahead of Chelsea, which is very important as well. And that has been their first blunder in their last 9 games, where I think they won 8 on the trot and now have drawn 1. So in their last 10, they do have 8 wins, a loss to West Ham, and a draw to Tottenham, where last season they did perform admirably against the London clubs, right? So, look, Liverpool, their next game will be against Leicester in the Cup, and then they got Leeds United, a struggling Leeds, Leicester again, Chelsea, Brentford, Crystal Palace, Shrewsbury in the FA Cup. Some tough games coming up for the Reds, and let's see how they fare throughout. Thank you. Appreciate it.